Welcome back to CFBNation. I am your host, NinoBrown, and I got my guy with me, Mr. Get It Done, aka DNow. And usually when you see us, it's Debbie Down time, but it's rivalry week, and we got a special Overreaction Live episode prequel to Overreaction Live, and I think we'll be talking about these games on Overreaction Live. Um, but the bottom of the screen, you see two games. I'm biased because I make the overlays, like I said, so I had to put them on. I think it's a better matchup. We're gonna break it all down. And we're gonna talk some of these burning questions that go on with these teams because I think people are gonna want to hear about it. Let's talk about this first game before we get into it. Actually, Dino, how we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about these games. These are some really good games, and like we were talking in the green room prior, uh, starting tomorrow, we got football all the way till Tuesday. I mean, what's not to love?
Yeah, and no, it wasn't the green room. We were recording, and we thought
That's
Boom
right.
was.
That's right.
We thought Boom. I'm putting him on blast. That's all right. We thought Boom was coming in, and at the moment he's moving something, so he might be joining us halfway through the show. We'll see. But we're gonna carry it through anyway. Like I said, this is some big rivalry games. Some of them have carry a little bit more weight than the other ones do. Some of them, there's just some questions, and I don't know if you have the answers. I don't know if I have the answers. I don't know if anybody we know has the answers, but I think they need to be asked. So right off the rip, let's get into this Thursday night game between number 12 Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Uh, Ole Miss is a 13.5-point favorite, and what I found interesting this week was Jackson Dot announced that he's coming back one more run, which I think is actually kind of smart. We saw him progress this year. He looked really, really good this year. The team as a whole looks good. Uh, I was wrong. I thought, the Oklahoma State transfer would come in there and, you know, rattle some bones. He couldn't stay healthy. And Jackson Dot obviously took a steps. What are your thoughts on him returning and him as a whole this year?
Um, we definitely saw him take that step this year. Having no pressure that Spencer Sanders was going to come and
Right.
replace him. Once that was kind of solidified, you saw him take that step, and I have Ole Miss's schedule pulled up right in front of me. So next year, honestly, I think they have a legit chance to challenge Alabama for the West
Okay.
because they got Georgia at home, but that's Georgia. Oklahoma's at home. Their biggest road game, I think, is going to be LSU, but as of right now, we don't know who's going to be the quarterback for LSU, who's
Yeah.
going to be returning,
Yeah.
who's going to leave. Other than that, I think their schedule is actually pretty manageable. So I'm
Ooh,
excited about that.
November 22nd, 2023. Lock it down. My guy's saying that the Rebels could be shaking it up in the SEC next year.
I
I
do
love
think
it.
so.
Now, we talked about him as a debutante, so I'm going to bring it up. What does this mean for Walker Howard, right? Went there thinking that, it was going to be his battle, this year even, possibly getting in there and most likely his the next season because we assumed Dot was going to the NFL, and we all knew that, Sanders was done after this. So do we see him stay, or you think he's going to possibly be gone? So I personally think he stays.
I think he stays too. Once you try to go to school number three, you start getting that bad rep with execs at the next level. Like, why can't this guy stick around one school? So I think he'll at least have 2 years with Lane as the starter. So I think he sticks around.
You say that the three schools, all those guys that were with Jackson Dart over at USC, they
Yeah,
all went to three schools except for him, and they didn't all pan out too well. I
yeah.
mean, Daniels did okay this year, right?
Finally,
This was just finally his better year. But not a knock because McCaffrey's good, but you had to go to Rice. You know what I mean to kind of get out of that and come over it. But it is what it is. All right, let's talk a little bit more here. Where's the real Will Rogers been? Like, I know, God rest his soul, Mike Leach passed away, right? So the air raid system was modified, taken away, whatever you want to call it, with the interim coach who came in. But this is the first year I'm pretty sure that Will Rogers is under 60% in his career, right? This is the first year where Will Rogers probably isn't that in or approaching 4,000 yards pass. Like he just was crazy for like 2 or 3 years. He's got 12 touchdowns and he's been sacked 14 times. What happened?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Has he been injured? Like, has he missed games at all this year?
I want to say he played all games, but one I think Mike Wright came in and or started one game. But
Because I
yeah,
mean, he's not even over 2,000 yards passing.
no, and that's what
I
I'm
saw
saying. Like,
that and I was like, okay, he had to have missed 3, 4 games. But when I saw those numbers, I was in shock. Like, I mean, there's a reason, obviously. Mississippi State fired their coach year one. Because I mean, Will Rogers is no slouch of a quarterback. Granted, he's not top tier quarterback, but I mean, to only have 1,000 and some change
he had
yards, 12
eight
touchdowns.
games. He played 8 games.
Okay,
Yeah,
but still, not even to crack 2,000 yards. That's still pretty shocking.
he had. I'm just gonna read the numbers. Yards, okay. 144, 189, 107, 480, 87. That's the Will Rogers we know. I was obviously against South Carolina. 103, 162, and then 227. Like 2 games over 200 yards. What
That's
happened to
rough.
Willie?
Yeah, that's rough.
Oh man, he was a guy, and I always said I heard about it at the Senior Bowl and when Mike Wright went in there, and I was like, it don't sound right. Like that don't even fit the system. Wright's more of a dual threat kind of QB, in that short intermediate route. Like Will Rogers is dropping back and just chucking bombs. Like you know what I mean? And that's what he did for two seasons. And this, I'm just it's dumbfounding to me. I don't get it, but nonetheless, it is what it is. I don't foresee that. I mean, maybe he musters it up for one last hoorah, right? And we get a battle between Dot and Rogers. But I have a funny feeling Dot's just going to blow him out of the water.
Yeah.
I talked about this guy before coming in from La Tech, right? And we all thought that Zachary Franklin. I don't even know what's going on with Zachary Franklin. Like he probably should just stay at UTSA. Cephas just went and eclipsed him, and he's like the all-time leading receiver for the Roadrunners now. So like Franklin's kind of like not even thought about over there anymore. Like, and he had 2 years just being
which is really sad to think about because
he was a guy for 2 years. Everybody talked about him, and like I know he was injured, and it took a little bit at the beginning of the year, but he played like 2 games, and now I don't even think he's with the program anymore. Like,
I don't think so either.
Which is like sad, and like I don't know. I don't know if he can get a medical claim or whatever it can be and get another year, or he has another year of eligibility. I'm pretty sure he's on that Frank Harris train there. I don't. I don't know.
Hope not, but I can see it.
Yeah, it's really sad. But Trey Harris came in from La Tech, and him and Smoke, the previous season, were just dudes. They just bang off each other, and I was like, oh, all right, going into Ole Miss. Lane got a guy. If Dot Neat finally has a guy like, he can rely on the play in the slot and outside if necessary. Trey Harris has been a guy all year. I mean, he's gone off. He's had 2 big weeks. I think he had over 200 yards receiving, multiple touchdowns. So he's a guy. And then this guy Griffin, right? Tutu Griffin, they call him. I know his first name I will totally just destroy. So I'm not even going to try it. But I know his nickname is Tutu. But, hey, this guy went off against South Carolina for like 200 yards, so 3 touchdowns, something stupid. He's had multiple games this year, big numbers. The guy in front of him hit the portal and was gone, and he reaped the benefit. He's done okay with what he's got from Will, right? He's played not many big games, but he's been the recipient of majority of the yards and the receptions. So, who do you like in this one, Harris or Tutu?
I'd have to go with Harris. I think he's hitting his stride at the right time of the season. Since the end of October, beginning of November, I think he had almost 500 yards through 3 weeks.
Yeah, multiple touchdowns. I think it's like 4 or 5 touchdowns too.
Yeah, so he's hitting his stride right at the end of the season where Dart knows he can rely on him. They helped pull him. That connection helped pull out some wins for Ole Miss. So I'll definitely have to take Harris.
And I'm going to go off chalk here. This isn't on the doc, but it just popped into my brain because it's not just one incident, okay? The tape got released about the gentleman, right? The lineman who just disappeared, mental health, whatever it may be. And I'm with Lane. regardless of what you had going on, if your boss calls you, just tell him, hey, listen, I got problems. I'll come in and see you. You come in, you see your boss, and then you go about your business. It is what it is. You still have to explain yourself. You still have to report. But he's gone from the team, right? We just talked about Franklin's not with the program anymore. Michael Trigg earlier in the year left the program. Lane's been known to be a great recruiter, but what the hell is going on over there at Ole Miss with 3 big name guys like just gone? And it did like not quietly, like just didn't work, and it was odd. And all of a sudden in the media.
Yeah, that's now that you bring it, I totally forgot about Trigg, if I'm going to be completely honest. But that's pretty surprising. Like, especially in like today's circles. I don't want to throw shade where there's nothing to be said, but at the same time, it's like
pump the brakes a little bit. Like, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
Somebody might want to look into something, because it just seems odd. Like, and I haven't seen anything like that with Lane in the year prior. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Mississippi State got 200 plus tacklers in Jet Johnson and Nathaniel Watson. Is there any chance in this game they can slow down Judkins?
So looking at my notes, Watson 21 total tackles last week. Johnson 16 total tackles last week. I think they'll both eat, but I think they'll eat because Mississippi State's defense is going to be on the field the entire time.
Yeah.
I guess that's the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling it's going to be an air explosion early in the first half, and they might just hand it to Judkins to just ram it down their throats for the rest of the time. It's just those two gentlemen are good, right? And I get it. Like 116, 120 tackles in the year. You got numbers. You're good. Like I get it, but like I don't know if man for man they can stand in it all game. Maybe it might give them a run in the first quarter, right? Like be able to
first couple drives,
yeah. But once it goes off those scripted drives and those scripted plays, then I want to know what you got. And I have a funny feeling Hail State's going to be on the wrong end of that one. So
yeah,
all right,
that game's pretty.
I said it was 13.5 point favorite. Give me who you got.
Ole Miss by at least 3 touchdowns.
All right. I'm with you. I think Ole Miss blows them out somewhere like 45 to like 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
So give me Ole Miss. And Boomer as well. Boomer says Ole Miss with the points. So give him the points. All right. Next one up. This isn't really a rivalry as per se, but this could be a future rivalry to come in this conference because UTSA is new to this conference and they face number 23 Tulane. We spoke a little bit about him earlier, Frank Harris. But before we get into him, Tulane is a 2.5 point favorite in this game. And it seems as though a slow start for 300-year fresh senior quarterback. Frank Harris. Was it 6 years, though? I think it's 6, right?
Yeah, I think 6.
6 years. But, man, as of lately, he's kind of turned it on. 13 total touchdowns over the last 5 weeks. Cool. Last week's 400-plus passing game versus USF. Question for you. Is Frank Harris an NFL caliber quarterback?
Well, I think before I answer that, correct me if I'm wrong. Tulane actually needs to win this in order to go to the championship game. Am I correct about that? I think it's actually pretty close in that conference.
Oh, let me check. They got one loss. Was that a conference loss?
I believe it was. Yeah, I believe it was one of the weeks that Pratt was injured.
Oh no, that's
but while you look that up, I'll answer your question.
They lost to Ole Miss.
Okay,
week 2.
So maybe it was last week that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think last week's game was they had to win. That was against FAU.
Yeah, I think that may be it now that you say that. But to answer your question, I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I don't know if you remember King Coulter from Northwestern.
Yes.
Maybe a decade ago.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of in that. He will get an opportunity to show he is an athlete at the next level, whether that's receiver, running back, maybe some sort of DB. But quarterback, no.
Okay, yeah. And Tulane is first in the conference, so they must it must have been last week that you were thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He is an athlete. But what I thought was odd to me is, yes, the Corian Clark didn't come back until mid-year because he was recovering from an injury as well, a knee injury. But he had Cephas the whole time. He had Cavalier Bonds the whole season, which is legitimate running back. And there's weapons there. He took a step back for me in this. Like he was, did he like tie the record for most total touchdowns last season? Like, did he have like something stupid like 40 plus total touchdowns last year? I want to.
Yeah, I want to say yeah.
And we went from that to what we the first 5 games of the season. I would thought he was hurt. I asked you guys a couple times, like, what's going on with Frank Harris? And then we're starting to see a little bit. He had a 3 touchdown game, and then he had a couple plateaued games where he's around 200 yards and minimal touchdowns. And then again last week, I think he had 6 touchdowns total, 4 in the air, 3 in the air, 3 on the ground. So like that's the guy we know. But where's that been all year? You know, you saw flashes of like, I don't even know who would be a comp for him like modern day NFL. Like maybe a Josh Dobbs, but I feel like it's not knocked Harris, but obviously Dobbs is a rocket scientist. I mean, he's a smarter player. You know what I'm saying? You can't debate that. But yeah, I mean, maybe he's a Josh Dobbs, and maybe he can be like a journeyman guy who just gets a shot with a chip on his shoulder and goes. But I don't see him being a starter in the NFL anywhere. Maybe if he had a better year, just kind of went out there and balled out, maybe would have drew a late round pick. But I think he's a UDFA. Maybe he gets a shot, but he just bounces around.
Yeah.
All right. How good of a coach is Willie Fritz? I mean, after losing so many monstrous pieces last year, right? He lost Tajay Spears, both starting wide receivers, Nicholas Anderson and Dorian Williams, both of the linebackers in the middle, gone, right? And at 10-1, didn't skip a beat. Running backs, what was by committee, and then one of these gentlemen pulled away, down the stretch, took over the room. And Pat's just been dealing that to everybody. Like Keys the third's been getting his. The tight end's been eating. Before we get to Pratt, how good is Willie Fritz in your eyes?
I guess I'll even add Pratt missed about a month this season.
Yeah.
So I honestly think Willie Fritz should be one of the first 3 names in consideration for Coach of the Year. And I would not be surprised if he's on the list. The first name on the list for schools like Mississippi State, Michigan State, any of the other big Power 5 schools that open up after this season. Maybe Ohio State. But that's another story. But yeah, I think he should be serious contender for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And he's not getting enough talk or buzz about it. But like you said, like I think he missed 3 or 4 games where Kai Horton took over, but Mekhi Hughes just took over the room. Coming in, it was supposed to be Clayton Johnson, right? He was going to be the guy to stop. He ended up with 34 carries. Mekhi Hughes got 200 carries for over 1,000 yards. Tajay Spears was a instantaneous playmaker anytime he got the ball after week 3 of last season, right? And we saw what he did to USC. To replace that in a season is very difficult. Not being one of those premier P5 schools that, they're getting all these dudes. Like, in the American Conference, and you're just replacing productivity like this. That shows a lot, from a coaching standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, just what a buying in standpoint. I think Willie Fritz got to be top 3 candidate for Coach of the Year, and more people need to be talking about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Michael Pratt, let's talk about him for a minute. What's the future for him and why?
I think he transfers to a Power 5 school. Kind of what we expected Grayson McCall to do a couple years ago, last year, just to prove that he is
that guy.
Yeah. Like I said, Grayson McCall should have done it. And I think this is just the right move career-wise. We had talked about this a couple weeks ago on Debbie in the green room. Maybe a school like Notre Dame goes into the portal again.
Perfect. I believe
slides right in there. And
Sammy Hartman 2.0. Be what everybody thought Sammy Hartman was supposed to be. Sammy Hartman kind of fizzled out after
yeah.
I think Pratt going in there with that youthful wide receiver room, right? You still got that and youthful running back room. Like, you're gonna lose 2 guys on that line, but Notre Dame just known for being
Plug and play.
Yeah, that's what they do every single year. Every 2-3 drafts, they got 2 or 3 alignment that are going in. So that's what they do. I don't think that'll be a problem. But yeah, I'm with you. I think he's going to go to that Sammy Hartman route, whether it be could be even Clemson, because I don't know if Klubnik's gonna be there.
Florida State could look for another
Yeah,
quarterback.
there's a lot. I know that there's youth here, but a lot of these schools are in that. We got like a 2-3 year window here, so I don't know if we can trust a true freshman or a sophomore that has 17 attempts in his collegiate career. So they might go that transfer portal route. I think this is going to be a showcase game for Michael Pratt. Him getting the invite to a Senior Bowl, right? And then stating that I don't know if he's so much announcing, or the people around him announced that he's either going to the portal or going to the NFL. And I'm not hearing much NFL buzz about Pratt. So for me, I would think he's hitting the portal. I think he's going to put himself in the position to just ball out. We might see 5 touchdowns in this game. Just chucking the ball. And Willie's not stupid. Willie knows he's going to, put his QB in that trophy, put him up there on that perch, and let everybody look at him and say, okay.
It's going to be kind of how, before deciding to come back, how Austin Reed went out there for Western and just threw a hell of a game. Like you said, it's going to be the, hey, look at me, come get me.
Yep.
I can lead your team to the promised land sort of game.
Yeah, I'm with it. Austin Reed is a topic for another discussion, because you, my friend, and KT, excuse me, berated me about it. He's a guy. He's not gay. You put him in the Pratt conversation, right? Like you guys were in. He's right there, and we all seen that it was Malik,
yes,
Corley's the dude, and he's the guy, that carries that torch over there. I'm not saying it's trash, right?
No,
but he could be a guy like the backup in New England, the Mr. Zappy, in that category. But
I'll own that.
The numbers are totally different from this year than last year, right?
Yeah.
So that happens to be a story with a lot of quarterbacks here. I'll allow Devin Leary and a few other guys. I'm throwing shots here on this rivalry episode. All right, give me your outcome here. Who do you got?
Tulane. I think it's a little wider than 2.5. I'd say probably 10.
Yeah.
I think Harris does have a good game though to end it out.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a good game to end it out. I think last week was his simmer game. I still got this, guys. And I'm not gonna go out here like a chump. I came back for this one. I'm gonna give you 2, bangers to go out with. I think you're gonna see. I'm gonna go with a dozen touchdowns between the two of them. All right. I think Tulane wins by more than 2.5. I think they win by 2 scores, whether it be 10 or 14. I don't know, but I just don't think that
a dozen scores. That's like 63-53 sort of game.
This is.
It totally could happen, but I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, I have a feeling, bro. They got good. Like Tulane has a defense. But if Harris is going to go out with a bang, he's gonna have to put up numbers like last week, right? I'm not saying USF and Tulane's defense are anywhere close, but if they're to be in this game and he's going to have it, he's going to have to be around that. I say he gets 5. I just think I truly believe Pratt's going to go out there and pull Tajay Spears from last year. He's going to go out there and put 400 up on the board. He's going to, and he might throw 5 touchdowns, but it could be to 5 different receivers. Like I think he is going to showcase himself in this game and say, listen, who needs this? What P5 school wants it, dude? You come get me. Let's talk. Call my phone. I just showed you what I got. All right. I'm with you. We're going Tulane. I think it's Tulane in a big one. This next rivalry game, Texas Tech versus number 7 Texas. Texas is a 14-point favorite. My guys are still in it. The hot is still beating. I made this prediction early in the year. 1/2 is gone. I said LSU, Texas would be in the national championship. I guess Texas is part of the chaos factor that everybody's talking about here.
Yep.
I truly believe that they're gonna, be the monkey wrench to everybody. I think you're gonna have no choice but to put them in when all the cards fall, especially when Alabama gets that dub in that big game, and then you're looking at all these 1-loss teams, and you're gonna say, okay, well, Georgia has to go, right? They have to be in. Is it Alabama or is it Texas? Texas beat you at home by 10. You gotta get right. You kind of got no choice there. But Quinn announced he's coming back. Okay, big news. I'm coming back, boys. I didn't have a full year. I showed you what I got, a little bit in the tank. I got hurt. But I think he took a step this year in those first 5-6 games that he did play. We saw poise. We saw when he was people coming down the gauntlet at him. There was no jitters. He was ice cold. He stood in the pocket. He did have some turnovers. Some of them were his fault. Some of them were his, but I think the majority of his turnovers were on the other guys or tip passes or whatever you want to say. I don't think everything was on Quinn. I think he had a good year for the games that he did play. But now, what does this mean for this QB room, right? Because I truly believe Malik Murphy's out. I think he's gone.
I don't think he's the only one.
Oh, boy. I don't know. Here's my thing. I love that little spicy take, and we're going to spin real back to you and give you a reason why. But this is two things about this, okay? This makes me think he's and I don't want Texas fans to beat me up because I'm not knocking you guys at all. I'm a fan of Texas. Trust me. Like, I've been riding you guys since before the year started, all right? I had one of your biggest, podcasts on there, Lacey, on the show, on my prime show, and she killed it. But is he soft by saying, like, well, my brother, I might go the Eli way, where I redshirt a year and I sit behind a veteran for a year and they come out year 3 and just ball out? Nah, man. You were talked about as like the greatest thing since sliced bread, the greatest, the generational QB since your older brother. Like, you were talked about as a dude, and now because the mullet mania is coming back, you might go somewhere else, or you're okay with sitting another year. That don't sit right with me. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I just echo off what you said. I think this is great for Quinn. I think it's 100% what he needed.
Puts him right.
Oh yeah, arguably QB1 next year's draft class. I think Malik Murphy is gone, and I think Arch is gone. I don't think, like you said, the way he was talked about, I think it hurts him to sit another year. It cools everybody off of the Arch Manning train that everyone wanted to jump on when he was in high school. Hot take, he is going to stay in the SEC. I won't throw a school out there just yet, but I have one in mind.
Can't be Alabama, not with the growth of Milroe. There's no way, right? Like,
no. That's not the school I was thinking of.
All right.
I'll just throw. I think he goes to Georgia because I think Carson Beck comes out.
What? Hold on. Pause. Wait a minute. You think Carson? Why? Because some quarterbacks have already backed out of this. Like.
Yes, that is the only reason I think Carson Beck comes out. If he can beat Bama and potentially lead Georgia to a 3-peat, I can foresee him being a late second, early third round draft pick.
Instead of waiting one more year and being that guy with battling Quinn for the top QB spot next year?
I don't think he can battle Quinn. I don't think he can battle Shador. I don't think he's ahead of Jackson Dart. I just think with the watered down QB class that this year will be his best chance to be drafted higher.
So you just think you still think it's watered down? I still think there's at least 5 or 6 before him. At least.
I mean, that could be a topic for another show, but I think that's just my hot take.
I got you. No, I love it. I love the spice, man. Listen, I showed you guys the wings. I'm ready for the wings, the air fryer. I want the spicy stuff. I'm ready for the smoke. I think it's great. Yeah. Hey, okay. Write that down. November 22nd, 2023. My man says we could be going to Georgia. All right. Shaw, whatever his name is. I always mess up. Tyler Shaw, right? we talked about Team 3.
Yeah.
My only thing with Team 3 is you better hit a goddamn home run. Okay, you do not want to pull a Casey Thompson and fall and go to FAU thinking that you're going to be the guy. I don't think he hit a touchdown in the first 4 games of the season.
No, I don't
Passing
think
it.
he did.
It was he had a terrible start. I don't know how I gave up trying to follow it after that. I don't know how he finished, but you got to hit a home run. You got to go to a school where literally JT Daniels, okay, smart man. There was very little comp. You knew going in there, you were probably going to beat anybody coming on. Like most of those quarterbacks are probably walk-ons, right? Or like 2-3-star guys. Or you should be able to smoke through, and he did. And to him, he had a year. He had a very good year. But if you don't hit, and you pull a Slovis, right? Who was supposed to be a dude, and now Jerkovich now is a tight end, maybe I don't know. It's just you don't hit that team, you can kiss your NFL career pretty much gone. Journeyman, you're looking at the XFL, CFL, you know what I mean? Like that arena football, that's what you're looking at, or being an accountant somewhere or talking head on TV. Like it's over for you. Like whatever you picked as a major, I hope it was a good one, right? Because you're not playing football no more if you can't hit on that third school. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, first off, he should be able to find a job anywhere because at this point he'll be almost PhD with how long he's been in school. But at the second time, you kind of feel bad for the kid because he just can't stay healthy.
Right.
Uh, Everyone thought he was going to be the guy when he was back in Oregon. Injuries. Everyone thought he was going to be the guy when he came to Texas Tech. Injuries, and then he got beat out by Donovan Smith, who then ended up transferring.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel bad for the kid. But at the same time,
hot. Like he started out hot.
Yeah.
He had a couple of good weeks, and then like just the injury happened. But like right before the injury, there was like a week or two. He was kind of just like meh, and I'm like, oh man, he looks like last year. Like he doesn't look like he's ready to take the step, and then the injury happened, and obviously, it did.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him going to a school like, I mean, we talked about it before, Western Kentucky, that is really air raid, gives the quarterback an opportunity to shine.
What about Kentucky? Larry's gone, bro.
I don't see a P5 going and grabbing him. I really don't.
Okay.
Because I was going to say, like, that as like a knock on him or anything. I just, with the injury bug being there, I don't see a P5 going and grabbing him.
Because I was going to say team like maybe Oregon State or.
Nah, I think Oregon State likes what they have.
And Childs, you think he's the guy next year? I think so
Yeah.
too. Or like even UNC. We haven't seen anything besides Drake May. We all assume Drake May's gone, but what's behind that?
Can I throw a school out now that I think about it? If your guy gets the San Diego State job,
my guy, I love it. I hit that one, huh?
I think he would kill it in that kind of offense.
He is going to be a dude. You give him San Diego, watch that program get turned around in less than 2 years, bro. He got hired. Petrino stiffed Barry Odom, stiffed him.
Yep.
Because he wanted the Aggies job, right? And they took this kid. He's not a kid. He's a grown man, but he's a kid in the college football coaching aspect, right?
Yeah.
They took this guy in, and he turned a youthful program offensively around. A freshman QB and our guy, right, Jaden, at running back with a sophomore. Like, you got two youthful guys in that, and you turned them around. You got a running program and a freshman QB who's doing his thing. In my view, like, bro, he's hot. And there's no reason why you're going to get more phone calls. But I think San Diego State is a good spot for him. If they can hit that, it's a home run. Absolute home run.
100% agree.
And bro, the recruit that's going to come in he's a young cat that knows how to talk to, this day and age is
if you could take a perennial laughing stock like UNLV and show that their offense is, I mean, I won't say it's a top offense, but it was an electric offense.
But they point wise, I think they were top 25 in the country for most of the season. Like they were putting up good numbers. UNLV was a surprise, and credit to both of those guys. But I said it. in that article I wrote, I had a feeling I just like you came out of nowhere. People were talking about Maivia, but they were talking about how Rory was, right? And it took a little bit. First couple of weeks, you were like, well, okay,
Yeah.
he's good on the ground, but the arm's kind of like either it's a saucy one or it's quacking out there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, he's come around and he looks good now. And kudos to them. I hope they were able to lock him in, but I got a funny feeling his phone has to stop ringing since that got
Oh
put out
yeah.
there. Because people are like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
We got
already
to make our
after him.
moves now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we wait too long, he's gone. Taj Brooks, since Shuck went down, and even prior to it, he's been an absolute machine. I mean, he's leading the nation in broken tackles, which is stupid. It's almost, I want to say it's close to 90 something broken tackles. It's just insane. And he's top 3 in rushing yards, right? What in God's name can these Longhorns do to stop him? I know Anthony Hill's come on, the freshman linebacker, having double-digit tackles the last, I think it's 2 out of 3 weeks, and he's doing his thing. But, this kid's just, he's taking a climb. I haven't seen a running back in the last couple of years that's just shot out of nowhere like this, being a physical style running back like he is. Me and Katie thought he was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to be top 3 in the nation.
Yeah, I think he's surprised a lot of people with, like you said, how quickly he's shot up
Phew.
on a lot of people's boards.
Yeah.
And to answer the question, I think if he can get past those front 4, I think Texas is going to have a hard time bringing him down.
Sweat worries me. Devondre Sweat is an absolute wrecking ball, bro, on
Yeah.
that line. That guy is as big as he is. You shouldn't move like that. Shouldn't be able
Yeah.
to spin and just cut through guy. Yeah, I don't. He's semi twitchy, which is odd to say for a 300-pound man, but like he's got that to him. He could be a problem with Brooks. I don't want to see that matchup. To be honest with you, I want to see him coming out the hole and see what happens there. I have a funny feeling we're going to see prime Taj in this one, and
Yeah.
he going to be doing his thing. They're going to need him to be anyway a workhorse for them if they're going to be anywhere in this. Another running back that I want to talk about in this game is Jonathan Brooks went down, and he was just unbelievable. A guy that, you want to talk about filling big shoes. 2 gentlemen in front of him went to the draft. Everybody was talking about, oh, they got no running backs. They got all the running backs, but they got no running backs, right? And who's going to be the guy? First week or two, it was like 10 carries, 5 carries, see who's going to be the guy. Brooks just said, no, I'm not playing this game, bro. Just give me the goddamn rock, bro. I'm taking over. He went for 125 plus, I think, for like 3 weeks in a row, multiple touchdowns. And we've seen, okay, he's the guy. Obviously, the injury happened. Last week, Cedric Baxter Jr. was like, I got you. 100 plus yards, had a touchdown. Like, this is what your 5-star back is supposed to be. And we don't see many times. I've said it multiple times on multiple shows, CFBNation. Shock don't play as freshman. Like he's like Nick, right? They just notice they don't usually play true freshmen. Anthony Hill, that's how goddamn good he is because he started almost every single game this year. That's how good he is, right? Cedric Baxter coming in and playing in multiple games this year and now starting for them due to injury, doesn't matter. Means a lot, speaks volumes for the kid. I think he's going to be a factor in this game for the Longhorns, especially if Quinn is popping early. I think you're going to see heavy Baxter usage. What are your thoughts on Baxter?
Oh, I love Baxter. Like you said, it's someone in Sharks offense as a true freshman being relied on this much. It just shows how good this kid is and can be. Because, like you said, Saban, Shark, they don't really trust freshmen right off the bat. And this guy's a dog. I guess that's as easy as I can put it.
Man, it's so crazy how they find these guys like Booker Brooks, right? They've always had the physical-esque back, Benson and these guys, Ricky Williams before, but they started getting into like the physical, athletic more back, right? And Bijan was an anomaly, right? He's an outlier, but Brooks had some agility to him and was physical. And now Baxter looks like a little baby version of Bijan. Will he live up to that hype? It's big shoes to fill, but he's got, traits that is similar to him. He's freshman getting work in big games. My question to you is, can he carry this backfield rest of the season for the Longhorns?
I think he can. I think he can. With how stable that offensive line is, I can definitely see him carrying the load for the Longhorns, potentially into the playoffs. and doing really well.
All right. I mentioned the point spread in this one was 14 points, 2 touchdowns. What's the outcome here?
I think it's within 10.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's a closer game.
I think my guy's been acting like Joe Cool the last 2 weeks. Shock's been in the last couple of interviews. He's throwing subliminal shots. You could tell the shots that he remembers that, the Big 12 conference when Yorkman was out there telling homeboy, when the game comes, you go out there and you win the game, right? Well, guess what? It's time. And Shock's team is rolling and they're ranked and they're in a position to be in the playoff. And he is not going to let this slide. And he is not going to give anybody an opportunity or a window left open to say, well, yeah, they beat Alabama, but they only won by 3 against Tech, right? Give me Texas in a blowout. All right. I think Brooks is, Taj will get his 100 plus, right? He'll probably score. I think Quinn going to have a good game, 250, 2 touchdowns, might get one on the ground. But this is what happens with big programs like Alabama, like Ohio State, like Clemson, like Oklahoma. When they get to the dance and injuries has affected them, their recruiting that is A1 shows out. Cedric Baxter Jr. is going to put his name in every goddamn household in this game, and you're going to say, oh, shit, they got a dude we have to watch out for. Give me Cedric Baxter for over $130 and 2 touchdowns, dominating in this game and letting him know I can be this dude, and I'm going to do it now. So I got Texas winning this one big.
I like that.
All right. This next one is near and dear to my heart, okay? Number 16, Oregon State versus number 6, Oregon. Oregon is a 13.5 point favorite here. Just before we were talking about the game, that seems like a lot of freaking points to me. I know my Ducks score in bunches and often, but State's no chump, okay? And they have a really good front seven, like defensively, offensive line is really good up front. Like, I think 13.5 points is kind of a lot, knowing how it's been the last 10 times they faced each other. I don't forget last year. And we're going to get to that later on in this part of the show. But, like, do you think that's a lot of points?
Normally, I would say yes, especially after watching Oregon State last week. But I think that might be underselling Oregon's offense, if I'm completely honest with you. This is probably one of the greatest offenses college-wise that I've ever seen. Yeah.
So Chip Kelly can't even hold the damn.
Oh no, and I don't want to spill my pick, but unless there's a typhoon happening, I don't think this will be close.
All right, well, I'm gonna go out of order in the doc. Okay, I taste it in my mouth. I talked so much shit to you guys last year when this game came on. So much shit. I'm like, it's over. He's going for the freaking Heisman. They're going to the freaking playoff. It's the Oregon State. They suck. Oregon State can't even throw the ball, and they didn't throw the ball. They completed 6 passes. 6. I can name all of them in all 4 quarters. I don't even think they completed one in the third. It was so bad. All they did was run. Everybody knew they were running, and they still couldn't stop it. It was disgusting. That was the only time in this 2 years of the Atlantic era where I questioned him, like, yo. Like, I didn't question him in the 3 4th down plays in 2 weeks against, Washington. I didn't quite know. Because the first one I said to everybody, I'm with it. Like, you want to establish dominance. Cool. I'm with it. The second one, it was questionable, but I didn't question him, I questioned that game. Like, what? There was no adjustment, bro. Like, they were showing you. I guess like, I'm all in. And you were like, no, that's fake. You're not going to keep doing that. And they just kept doing it. So I can't get the taste out of my mouth. So that's why I think the point spread is too much for me. This is why I'm a little nervous. Listen, last year, Cody Carpenter was probably the only guy that was more in on Will Levis than I was. Okay. I don't think you can surf and find a goddamn analyst, podcaster that's been more in on Bo than I've been in the last 2 years. Okay. I trust Bo. I trust him with my kids. I literally trust him. And I think in this game, I trust him. I just don't know if everybody else is going to show up, right? This is why I think this is Bo's biggest test, because I think this one's going to fall on him. Will they eliminate Franklin? Probably not, right? But can they bottle up Bucky? Yeah. And I think Bucky and Bo are such a good unit together where if you eliminate your sidekick, I need to see if Batman can shine on his own without Robin, right? Like this, and I think this, I'm going to go out and say this is going to be Bo's Heisman moment. Like, if he could steal it from Daniels, right, this has got to be the game. And we all know it's got to be big, right? You got to get like 6 again. And if you put back-to-back 6s on the board for touchdowns, right? Like, here's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, well, Jane Daniels has been so much better. There's been 3 games my guy didn't even play in the second half or played 2 drives in the third quarter. Yep. Oh, but that's forgotten about. It don't matter. The numbers. Right. I'm not saying he would have got 1,000 yards, but he probably could have got you 600.
Well, I mean, first 3 weeks out of a possible 12 quarters, I think he maybe played 7.
Oh, okay, right. Daniels has played every minute of every single game, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's what people don't understand. Like, my guy and the team has been so goddamn dominant that he didn't have to play.
Yeah, right? The numbers definitely would have been there if they played every single game.
When they needed Bo last year for every minute of every game, what happened? 41, 42 plus touchdowns last year, right? He had almost 700 yards on the ground. Like, come on. Like, I understand the shiny new toy, cool, and he has been so damn good this year. But to say that Bo don't belong in the talk with him is stupid. It's just ignorance.
It's got to be a 2-horse race. But to go, my thought on this is the last time Oregon will play at Oregon State for
ever
the foreseeable future.
Ever. They'll probably never play him again.
I don't want to say never, but I think Dan Lanning, Bo Nix, all of them are.
This means something.
Go out there, shut them up one last time, and show everyone. Because I also think this will come down to, okay, Oregon beats Washington Pac-12 1-1. What's the deciding factor? Oregon State, probably the best team both teams have played other than each other. If Oregon goes out there, smacks, then you got to put Oregon. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I agree with you 100% there. But in that Washington game, I know a lot of people don't give a shit. All they say is, well, all that matters is the final number. Oregon outplayed them in every aspect of that game. Like, yes, Penix hit that game-winning Heisman moment drive, but the Ducks dominated in that game. Like, especially in the second half. They were one drive away. If they made one stop on that drive, one perfect pass by Michael Penix, right? It was one beautiful, perfect pass.
Yeah.
That took that out. And we wouldn't even be having this. I think in the rematch, I think it's going to get ugly. I think right now, Bo, Dan, Dorless, Bucky, these guys are pissed off. They are so, because they're not getting any respect, and they've been doing their damn thing all goddamn year. And I think it's starting to get to them. I think you're going to start seeing, and they've been winning dominantly too. And people just don't give no respect. I have a funny feeling this game, the next game, you about to see prime Oregon. And mess around, let these MFs in the playoff, bro. Mess around and let these guys in, bro. I want to say it. I just am nervous. I got that stupid thing in my taste. You understand being an Iowa fan, right? You understand. Yeah. So, like, I trust Bo. I trust Bo so much. I think he's going to bowl out. I let him play all 4 quarters, Danny. Let them. Those guys up front, they love Bo. Oregon loves Bo. Everybody, Eugene loves Bo. They will protect the shit out of him. Man, I wish if he could go out there and just drop a turd on everybody and just say, okay, buddy, you guys want to disrespect me. I'm going to show you. He needs to have one of those games. But yeah, we're both on the Oregon wins this one going away. All right.
Yeah.
All right. This next one is interesting. I know.
Yes.
You're excited for this one. Number 2, Ohio State versus number 3, Michigan. Now, there's been so much shit pretty much thrown around Michigan this year. I feel bad for the players, regardless of whatever it is. They've gone out there and had themselves a year. But I've heard so much talk that I got some questions for you. Michigan's a 3-point favorite. And I just that's peanuts to me. That's a push. And then a game like this, it's a push.
Yeah.
Okay. JJ McCarthy has been talked about for the majority of this season as a potential first-round pick in this NFL draft. And I'm pretty sure we've spoke about, and I've said I don't trust him worth a damn. I don't know how he's even in this conversation. This is preseason. This is midseason. This is when they were saying he was the second guy behind Daniels as the Heisman. I don't see it. Okay, I told KT, what I do see is I see some damn good growth in the middle of the field. I see some damn good growth 20 yards and underneath, okay? I see that, okay? I don't see some, big-time throws. I don't see a guy that's just dominating all over the field. I don't see that. I see a guy who does have some trouble in checkdowns. When it comes to they know what you're doing, or they are showing like they know what you're doing. When it comes to checking out of that, he's not always making the right read or move there. That's what I've seen. But I've also got ripped apart when I said Kyle McCord was going to win the Buckeyes QB1 spot, right? And that he shouldn't still be the QB1 when we were going through this so-called battle with, Devin Brown. But let's talk about this last 5-6 weeks down the stretch here. One guy nobody wants to talk about. One guy they say is a first-round pick. 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, 3 picks versus 1,264 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Whose numbers are you taking right there? Which one, A or B?
Obviously A.
Well, A's Kyle McCord. And nobody likes Kyle McCord, apparently. He's yesterday's trash and garbage, and he's not even the best guy on his team. And J.J. McCarthy is supposedly, a first-round pick. Why do I feel like Kyle McCord's going to outplay him in this game? Talk to me, DNow. Get me off the ledge here.
So, I will say, I think the problem is Ohio State fans, trust me, I know, I live with an entire family full of them, have been spoiled by their last couple quarterbacks. Justin Fields, CJ Stroud. And Kyle doesn't fit that mold of those two. So I think that's where the disconnect first started. But throughout the entire season, you've kind of seen McCarthy and Kyle go in opposite directions. Kyle started kind of shaky. McCarthy, like you said, was everyone's golden boy.
Yep.
And over the last couple weeks, looking at these numbers, they even surprised me. It almost seems like McCarthy has kind of like the yips.
Yeah.
Exactly. The yips. Like he's in his mind too much.
Mm-hmm.
Where you see Kyle McCord, Marvin kind of re-clicking that high school connection.
Yep.
And finally getting this offense moving. So I'm excited for this game. I'm really excited for this game.
See, what people don't realize is Kyle McCord hadn't started any games it's been 3 years. He hasn't played a meaningful game in 3 seasons. Okay, yeah. So that's one fact. Right? Yeah, I know you got to be ready for every moment. Being ready for every moment and being in a game is totally different. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. You can't sugarcoat it. There's no way around it. He also, they had a putrid run game to start off the first 3 to 4 weeks, and that O-line was terrible.
Yes.
Well, look at it now. And this is going to go right to the next segue, so this is where I'm rolling with it. Look, Henderson has appeared to be back to Henderson. And I have said to you guys multiple times, I will believe that he's RB1 of this class when I see the explosiveness, because I hadn't seen it. No. And then KT, had come at me multiple times about it in good debate. But that was my only listen, I've seen it. I know what he's got. Mm-hmm. Until I see it again, I can't buy in that he's RB1 because there were other guys in front of him that looked better. And, Raheem Sanders, who obviously took a step back, the gentleman across, going to be lined up across from them, and Edwards and Corum. But it is, and Shipley, but he's back. And the guy who held it down when he was rusty and Chip Traham, he's been there the whole time. So my question to you is, before I full circle around, who's got the better RB room here? Is it Corum, Edwards, or is it Henderson and Chip?
So I will answer that question in just a second. Going back to McCord and McCarthy, I think one more thing is this week in the interviews, McCarthy has stated that he grew up a Buckeyes fan and felt slighted. He was not recruited by the Buckeyes as heavily as he was Michigan. First off, I'm like, okay, he's got that fire in him. And I bring this up because today in an interview, Kyle McCord was asked about it, and his answer to this question is just not sitting right with me. His answer about this entire game was, it's just another football game.
It's the robot. That's the robot, bro.
It's one of the biggest rivalries. You cannot answer it as it's just another football game. I don't care if that's what Ryan Day tells you to say, Ohio State tells you to say it. You cannot answer this game in that sort of fashion.
I think people. McCord's not one of these showboat kids. He never has been. Even in prep school, when he was throwing 30-something touchdowns to Harrison, right? He was cool with Harrison getting all the limelight. It just wasn't him. That just wasn't what he did. I'm not saying that, that's why he answered it the way he did. I truly believe that's the robot question. I feel like Saban, Day, even Dabo, which is why I think Klubnik's out, because if you listen to anything Klubnik says and the way he reacts in games, like there's such a total disconnect over there. It's not even funny. The fact that they call a play and he runs to the sideline and doesn't even execute the play is insane. But that's a topic for a whole nother show. But they know this is what you say. You don't get off of it. You get off of it, I am going to rip the shit out of you, and I'm going to do it in front of everybody on this team. I won't do it publicly, but on this team, you will be embarrassed as shit, and that will never happen again. I just think that's the answer. They've already they put themselves in a hole.
You could have put it like, this is why you come to Ohio State, or this is why you go play.
But they can make that bulletin board. What Day's telling them is, robot answers, don't give them bulletin board material. Don't give them anything more fuel. So, he's just going out there. Tom Brady, bro. Tom Brady, yeah. I'm not putting him. Yeah. I'm not saying he's Tom, but the answer is the Tom Brady. I'm going to lie to you every single time you ask me a question. Make it sound nice, because this is what they're telling me to do, because it's just easier for me in the long run, right?
I guess. But to answer your original question, I would have to say it's Corum and Edwards. I think the gap would be narrower if Mayan Williams was 100% healthy for the Buckeyes. I would still probably have to give it to Corum and Edwards, but I don't know. Thunder, lightning, even if Corum, he's got a little thunder and lightning in him, but I just like that duo a little bit more than Henderson and Chip, to me, he's still not as proven as I would like him to be.
Here's my thing. I eat my own shit when I have to eat my own shit. Okay. I was on the Donovan Edwards train. I have a draft in my Twitter that I've been trying to figure out how I want to explain and put out there. But 600, probably going to be around 600 yards by the end of the season. Differential and yardage. And you didn't start, but you get the same amount of snaps pretty much as the season prior. That's a red flag for me. He don't even look like he's the same back as last year.
He doesn't.
And neither one of them, to be totally honest with me, do. I think Corum is a little bit of a slight step back from last year. What I like about Corum a lot, and I think his value in the NFL draft will skyrocket come combine, come the actual time, is he is an absolute pit bull dog when it comes to the red zone. He is a bloodhound. He has a nose for the end zone. He's going to find a way to get in there. His legs never stop. The tree trunk just constantly move. But what I did notice is he's not explosive as he was last year between 20 to 20 at all.
Yeah.
Last year we seen a lot of them where he came out the hole and just blew guys out of the way. Next thing you know, he's ripping off 30, 40-yard chunks, even big, long touchdown runs. He's had a few, nowhere near what he had last year. I don't know if that's more the game plan to try to pass the ball around, but I don't think Michigan's really passed the ball so much more than they did last year, which
Well,
they said they were going to.
that offensive line has taken a dip from last year
Correct.
as well.
Correct.
So,
Which you would think you'd rely on your run game a little bit more, right? And Donovan Evans is kind of like a ghost.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me.
It is now that I start to think about it.
He had a couple games where it was majority of the chunk of his yards, and then his majority of the games he's kind of just been a pedestrian, which is odd. I thought he was really going to take over that room, knowing you had a guy coming back off a major injury.
Yeah, I don't know. I would still have to say if Mayan Williams was there, I think the more I talk to you about it, I may flip where I'm going. But if it's Henderson and Chip, I would have to more experience.
I mean, I understand which way you're going because Chip's only had really 1 year of production. Last year, I don't even think he did anything. But they've gone through. I think this year, I want to say 5 running backs at Ohio State probably started off gotten snaps in that backfield due to injuries and stuff. So, all right. How much does Maserati Mav the X factor in this game?
I think he's the ultimate X factor. I mean, even though the defense knows that's where they're going,
can they stop it?
Exactly. So as much of a obvious X factor as possible, especially if Ibuka isn't 100% healthy, which who knows? Honestly,
it's going to be the 3rd year in a row where they've had a stud wide receiver, right? That just doesn't pan out. I thought Mav was going to be the guy to shut it down, which proves how much gosh darn veteran and dog this kid is. And Ibuka's just been like soft. And I'm not knocking the kid; it just seems like he just can't stay healthy. Well, last year he was the guy who was filling in for Jackson Smith when he was being soft or just worrying about will the injury affect his draft stock, whatever it may be. I know injuries are injuries, but I also know these kids want to play, and when they get out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say outside of Marv, for Ohio State X factor wise, it is going to be Cade Stover.
100%. You fucking damn. Yes. You got me swearing out here. I'm so excited that you put him out there. Bro, for me, he is the ultimate guy on Ohio State that's taken that step all around. Defensively, offensively. Like, he was a guy.
Without putting up the numbers. You can obviously see that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, he has some numbers coming down the stretch here. These last 3 or 4
games. But not what everyone thought he was going to do.
Yeah, right. He wasn't putting up, Brock Bowers numbers or from last year. But, like, after Bowers, and he's a dude that could be in that number 2, number 3 talk of tight ends.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you got
him as a late second pick.
Look at Cade Otton, right, in Tampa.
Yes,
doing his thing. I know Baker loves tight ends and whatever it may be, but I liked Cade Otton, in the combine, and
I mean, even Tom started hitting him his last year.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, if Tom trusts you, then
and he kind of reminds me of that type of tight end, right?
Yeah.
So I think he is the ultimate exit. But look, when it comes to Maserati, bro, he's a Maserati. There's most of the guys out there. Maybe defensively with Burke, you got a Bentley or a Benz.
Yeah.
But Maserati Mav just makes up for anything. He'll find the weakness that you have, right? Like, if you're a lockdown guy that plays so gosh darn sticky, he notices that. He puts out the late hands. He has one of the latest hands in college football. Like, you think he's gonna give it away right now. Mav just waits until the ball's like at your helmet. Whoop, got it. Sorry, bro. I'm not gonna give you any notice, nothing. And he finds a way to beat you no matter what, whether it's athleticism, which is route running, which is just his raw ability just to catch the ball anywhere. His catch radius, I would love to see it on a scale, because it's got to be stupid for his size and height. But yeah, I love it. I think Mav is going to be the main guy in this. But yes, give me a defensive guy that you like in this one on either team.
So I'll give you one, maybe 2 for each team. So Ohio State, it is going to be Tommy Eichenberg, 100% linebacker, especially with the way Michigan's offense has been the last couple of weeks. That run game, I think he's going to be in there. Second one, Josh Proctor for Ohio State, dog of a safety. I just love the way over the last couple of weeks you've seen him grow and grow. Michigan, Rod Moore, cornerback.
Okay.
I think Santrell, I think that's how you say his name.
Like
I think
yeah.
is going to be on Marv, and Rod Moore will shut down the number 2 wide receiver, whoever that is.
Fleming.
Second one will be Junior Colson, linebacker for Michigan.
That's the dude.
Obviously, he's going to be rushing, may drop back, cover Stover. So those are my 4 standouts.
I like them all. For me, for Ohio State, because of the style of ball they play with 2 running backs, you have a mobile quarterback who they try to throw the ball out, get him out in space to throw the ball deep downfield. I think Sonny's going to have such a game. Sonny Styles, to me, is going to be the X factor for that defense. I just think he's like that smaller hybrid type linebacker, right? Can kind of play safety, can play linebacker, can kind of get out on the edge if you need him to get out there as well. I love his game. I don't know why people don't talk about Styles as much. I know there's a lot of 5-star dogs on that defense, so I get it. But he's a major catalyst to them. I really like him. I think Colston's just gonna for Michigan. It's just he has to. He needs to be
he has to.
the leader vocally, just performance wise. He has to be that guy. This is what they look up to you. And if you shit your pants, bro, it's gonna be a long afternoon for Michigan. They can't afford to lose this one. They just can't.
Yeah.
So
also, you named a linebacker, I named a linebacker. I think just in general, the linebackers need to have outstanding games. Eichenberg, Sonny, Steel Chambers, even. But my hot take on this is Michigan wins if they win. Ryan Day doesn't come back next year.
I'm with you. We said earlier in the year that seat was lukewarm because he had to win a big game.
Especially with the rumbles of Texas A&M and him being connected, I think it may not be a firing. He may just.
But that's not even a lateral movement, bro. It's a step down.
Oh, 100% is. 100%.
I mean, that questions your integrity, bro. You're just gonna go to the easier job, the job where they don't get on you as much as if you don't perform to capability.
Well, if he can't take criticism from 87-year-old Lou Holtz.
Oh, got hot, bro. Hot.
How do you think he's going to take losing to Michigan for the 3rd year in a row?
Yeah, but you're going to be okay with crosstown rival Texas and Shock running amok on you guys and just it's kind of a catch-22. I feel like
100% is.
He makes that move, and we're looking at the downward spiral of his coaching career, I believe.
What if Ohio State then reaches back out to Urban?
There's no way. There's no way. Bro, you think they would stuck the tail between their legs?
Money talks, man, and you get money from winning. And what does Urban do? Sure, he brings scandals with him, but
listen, he's got the scandals. He'll bring the stories. He'll bring the media. He'll bring the money. He'll bring the fans. He'll bring the sellout crowds. Listen, players won't like him, but they'll perform for him.
Oh, yeah.
You'll get the best out. He knows how to. He may not talk to them like they're pieces of shit, but for some reason, when they walk out that goddamn tunnel, they think they can consider him.
Oh, they'll run through a wall for him.
Yes, whatever he puts in that game plan, they trust in him. When the game's over, they hate him. But for those, that time on that field, bro, they believe in everything he says as gospel, and they trust whatever position that he puts them in is the best. So it takes a person to be able to put that to side the way that man operates, because the stories I've heard from Ohio State and Florida, bro, he talks to people like they are just dirt.
Or what if Willie Fritz brings Michael Pratt with him to Columbus?
This is probably going to get me so slow. I don't think Willie Fritz got that sack to be at Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
At the time in his life right now, like he's an older guy. What's right?
Oh, he is.
What's right at 37, 38?
Yeah, he's probably in his 40s.
Early 40s?
Yeah.
Willie's in his late 60s, right?
Yeah.
You want to take it now? Now at this point in your life to go like top dog in it? You know, maybe. I don't know. And I'm not knocking him. I don't know if he's got that. it's like coaching the pound, bro. Like when you get to schools like that, the Bamas, the Texas, the Ohio States, the Michigans, even Penn State, and this is why I don't trust James Franco. You can't coach the pounds, bro. It's unless you're a big dog, you can't stay on the porch. I don't think Franco knows how to handle the big dogs, the small dogs, and the dogs in between. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It takes a special breed to be able to do that, and that's why those guys have been around for so long. And most of the time, those guys have the winning records. Fritz has a winning record, and he's been around for a while. It's just been more lately he's been able to do it. And we're still in the, AAC, right? We're not.
Yeah, he hasn't coached anywhere.
That's all, okay? And that's not a knock, but that's a little bit of a red flag. That's all for me. So,
Understandable.
but, all right. So I'm going to go with, after all said and done, Ohio State wins this game.
All right. So
I got Ohio State, and I think they win by a touchdown.
I want to say, just for my safety, Ohio State wins. But in my mind, I want to say Michigan wins. I think they have the superior defense. And sure, I think Harrison's going to get his. I think Michigan wins by a touchdown.
All right, this is the way I look at it. Real simple for sometimes I just got to go how to break it down for dummies and how my brain works. Okay? Quarterbacks, push.
Yes.
Running backs, push. Maybe 51-49, but it's
Okay.
push. Okay? Defense is the same way. 51-49. It's like a push. Maybe it tips the scale slightly each way, but their defenses are so gosh darn good. It's like a push for me. Coaching, push. He's not there. All you're doing is picking up a game plan. Like they ain't doing anything that they have to do with their own mind. It's already scripted for them. Probably the first 5 drives are going to be scripted, right? Like
yeah.
Comes down to Roman Wilson and Maserati Mav, bro.
Okay, so I don't think the defenses are a push. A couple weeks ago, what did Rutgers' run game do to Ohio State? They ran for almost 200 yards on them. Rutgers.
Okay.
Rutgers.
One game, though.
Rutgers.
But what has it been the other teams that have good run games that didn't go for 200? I get it. Rutgers ran for 200. It could have been a look-ahead game, right? Looking ahead to this one?
I think
I just feel that the secondary, when it comes to matching secondaries, Ohio State secondary is better. It's better.
I don't.
Whoa.
I would take Santrell and Rodmore over Burke and whoever's on the other side. Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. We had a conversation early in the season and mid-year, and you told me Denzel Burke was top 5. At first, you told me he was top 3, but then you said top 5. Now you're saying he's not even top 5?
No. Okay.
Oh,
so I think Denzel is a top 10 corner. I haven't seen it this year. I think he's taken that every single year Ohio State has a stud corner, and the following year they shit the bed.
Wow.
Shaun Wade and now Denzel Burke. And I would take Michigan secondary over Ohio State secondary.
Wow. I don't know. Proctor, Ransom, Burke, Styles is a safety on paper. That to me is Ransom's better than Moore.
I mean, okay, so I think Santrell.
Isn't he a linebacker though? Like this is what I need to know.
Who, Santrell?
Yeah, is Mike Santrell a linebacker or is he a safety?
They have him as the nickel.
So he's like the Mike, right? Kind of, because he can play both,
yeah.
right?
I mean, Will Johnson, dog. Rodmore, safety. I like him. Josh Wallace has also come on for Michigan.
Huh.
I think
I don't know. I just the line. Look at the line. Sawyer, right? Tumalalu or whatever his name is. I always mess his name up.
Oh,
Right?
JT, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hall. Like that's just 3 guys that are gonna go and probably in the first 2-3 rounds to the NFL on their front 7.
Yeah. But then also you got to think. I think Mason Graham is a top 3 draft pick. I think Chris Jenkins is a top 3 draft pick. You got Colson who will get picked. So I mean,
Eichenberg getting picked. I don't know about Steel Chambers.
I don't think Steele. He may be a late pick if he gets picked.
Is he a senior?
Uh,
I feel like he's got. Yeah, he's a senior.
yeah.
Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, he might be later on, but like Sawyer, Ransom, JT, Hall, Burke, they're all going to the NFL.
So yeah, I think Hall, JT, and Sawyer will all be top 2 rounds. After that, I think Eichenberg falls to maybe like the 4th-ish. And Ransom's probably around that same range as well. Again, just my opinion.
No, I get it.
I mean, Will Johnson, I think by the time he ends up going pro, will be a 1st-round draft pick. Rodmore is also only a sophomore. I could see him being a first 2-round pick. Santrell, I think, is maybe a 3rd-rounder. But not to get off topic too much, but I think I like Michigan secondary a little bit better.
All right, you got Michigan Ohio State. I'll be chirping. We'll be chirping about this one.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll be
right.
hearing it from you, family.
We're gonna run down real quick. I just want your predictions on these last 2 games because we're pushing over an hour here.
Yep.
It's been a good one. Alabama, Auburn. Alabama's a 14-point favorite. Does the numbers even matter in this one? And what's your prediction?
Well, I guess the only number that should matter is 31 points given up to New Mexico State. But I think Alabama takes them to the woodshed.
I want to say Alabama runs amok, right? But for some reason in my head, it's like these guys don't fear each other. They don't they hate each other, right? Like,
oh yeah,
probably went to probably got a teammate or 2, went to some high school together, right? Like, families know each other type deal. Your neighbor might play for Alabama. Your neighbor might play. Like, there's rivalries in college football, but like, how many in-state rivalries are as big as this one?
Yeah,
right?
Not a lot.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a line in the sand for this one. This one, Auburn doesn't like playing at Alabama. Alabama doesn't like playing at Auburn. Like, there's just a mutual animosity between the 2. Like, whether one's ranked or one's not ranked, I don't know if that even really matters when it comes to the whistle goes off and stuff. Like, Alabama's rolling, Milroe's rolling, but for some reason, even without possibly Peyton Thorne playing in this game and giving up all those points to New Mexico last week, I just have a feeling that Auburn's just going to stick around. Give me Auburn with the points in this one. I think Alabama wins, but I think Auburn's going to make this one closer than a lot of people are thinking.
Wow. See, this is where I think Milroe gets invited to New York off of this game. That's how bad the beatdown is.
Okay. All right. And I think if he does that in Jordan Hare, I think that he deserves, to have a seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last one is number 5, Florida State versus Florida, the game of backups. Florida State is a 10.5-point favorite. Max Brown versus Tate Rodemaker. Talk to me about this one. Who do you got?
So originally I had nope. I had it actually down here. I think this is the upset of the week. I'm taking Florida.
Wow. Okay. So I wasn't even going to ask, but since you said it, I wore this shirt for my guy Prue over at Towards the Titles. Okay. He's a humongous
diehard
fan. Yeah, he bleeds,
Sorry, Prue.
I'm sorry, bro. I tweeted you out when it happened. My bad. I feel for you, Jordan Travis and his family as well. In the videos that I'm seeing of how they've been to the hospital, Jared Verse went out there and practiced and was doing their ritual wrestling by himself, shadow wrestling, and that's him and Jordan Travis. There ain't a goddamn way in hell the Seminoles are losing this game. For this other point here, everybody's saying they don't belong in the playoff now because a backup quarterback is gone. Wait. That's crazy talk. That is, they've faced every hurdle and challenge and bump and bruise this year, right? They lost both of their wide receivers. 2 games they didn't have Coleman or Wilson. 1, right? Jordan Travis is taking that step again, right? Obviously, gruesome injury, but this kid has got this team rallied again. Whatever, like a little bit of plateau or flatness that they had, that's gone, right? I think this team is right. Tate takes snaps every week, okay? Tate's been there for, I think, 2 years waiting for his time.
Yep.
Give me Tate over Max Brown any Saturday, right? Because Graham Mertz isn't playing. He's got a collarbone injury.
Mm-hmm.
Max Brown hasn't taken a snap all season. They didn't trust Max Brown to be the guy. That's why they went out and got a mediocre Graham Mertz coming over from Wisconsin. I got to say the Seminoles in this one, so I'm going to go with the Seminoles in a blowout.
So I think it's an emotional dump mistake that costs Florida State. I'm not saying it's going to be on Tate, or I think it's just
emotions dump. Too much.
Yep. And a mistake happens.
So you think that the Gators can stick around that long to wait for the mistake? Like that the Seminoles can't pull away without Jordan Travis? You don't think that Rodemaker can get a ball outside to Keon Coleman in space?
Oh, I'm not saying that. I think he can. I think it'll be like a 38-35 sort of game where...
Whoa, you think Max Brown got that him in the pocket?
I'm not saying it's on Max Brown either. I am saying... I'm more high on Trevor Etienne and what Florida's defense showed me last week than I am on Max Brown.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that Etienne's going to get you 203 total touchdowns?
I think he'll have, at least 200 all-purpose and 3 touchdowns.
He better for them to be even close. I just think there's just too much talent. Offensively and defensively, and they're riding the emotion. If Florida can win this one, Billy Napier's job is safe.
Yes.
Safe, because they'll spoil everything at Florida State. The in-state rivals is still alive, right? Everything they worked for is gone. I think as the one-loss team in that group of one-loss teams, they would be at the bottom.
They would have to be.
It's the ACC, and you just I covered you all year. They don't meet the cream of the crop. So yeah, I don't know. I feel the Seminoles just they need this one. I think there's a lot of emotional ties here. I don't trust Max Brown, but who knows? It's any given Sunday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, however it works now in football. All right, DNow, this has been a lovely episode. We did this one on the fly. It went almost an hour and a half. Gotta love it. Anything else you want to throw out there before we go?
Arch Manning, Georgia. Book it.
Gotta love it. I'm Nino Brown. DNow, Mr. Get It Done.